Hey guys, came for 15, joined by my uncle Daryl, and we are back with some more NFL recap from last week, week 10. And then give our thoughts on week 11, our predictions for that. But week 10 was interesting because there were pretty some I would say like two of the games were somewhat shocking. With one of the games being probably game of the year with how that game ended up being. But yeah, let's get to it. So Detroit versus Chicago, if you want to get a more in-depth thoughts of what we thought in that game, it will be on the gaming or not the gaming, the channel. Detroit ended up pulling the upset against Chicago.
Was it
Um,
really an upset though?
it's two bad teams playing each other. And
Yeah,
at
I
that
mean,
at that point in time, the Bears were above them in the standings.
okay, all right. Well, since you put it that way, I guess this could be considered an upset. But you know,
Yeah. Lions just come back down pretty much 24-10. They end up tying the game off a Justin Fields pick six, but Justin Fields, again, who's been arguably, you could say, one of the best quarterbacks in the past 3 weeks. He's definitely like killing it in fantasy from what I hear. I don't play fantasy football, but he's like the best quarterback in fantasy.
he's like probably over the past couple of weeks,
Yeah, they're
best
like the
player in
last three
football.
weeks.
Past couple of weeks, best player in football,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And yes, I did put him in my fantasy league those 2 weeks, and yes, I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah. He gives the Bears the lead, but Cairo Santos misses the field goal. The Lions pretty much go down the field, score pretty much the touchdown that gives them the lead, and they pretty much sack Justin Fields. Again, if you want a more in-depth look on that, get our thoughts. The one thing that I guess you could say changed the game was a very phantom hands to the face penalty, which pretty much
Mhm.
gave momentum all to the Lions. But again, it's one of those circumstances where the referees just need to get the right calls down.
Well, additionally, and I know we got other stuff we got to do. I'll make it quick. For me, the game changer was the interception by Fields.
Yeah.
I mean, because that right there just changed the whole momentum of the football game. Now, granted, he scored quickly the next time down, but that interception was a heartbreaker for that defense.
All right. Moving on there. Detroit, they move up to third place. The Chicago Bears are now fourth place in the NFC North. Probably expected. My uncle did say he thinks the Lions would have been better than the Bears so far. His case is better right now than mine.
But I still picked the Bears to win this game.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. So right now we're both 0-1.
we're
Uh,
going.
so yeah. Um, the next game, it was the game in Germany. My uncle tried to get tickets, but if you heard the story last week, you would understand why he didn't get a chance to go to this
Yeah.
game.
Shame on you, NFL.
Um, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they ended up pretty much pulling out the win pretty convincingly. They had complete momentum or complete control of the game.
Oh, no, they wasn't complete. It was they had control of the entire game. Yes, you are correct about that. But Seattle did make a run. They did make a run, and they brought it close. And they even had the football to even attempt to try to go into get even closer. But Tampa Bay defense, you got to give them a lot of credit, man. That defense is really good. And plus, Tom Brady is Tom Brady, man. It's dude is amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to their bye week. So it
Yeah.
gets them more on a focus. Because if they had lost this game, it might have been maybe a different story. But it looks like they're starting to right the ship and maybe turning a new direction.
I believe they are.
Next game, probably game of the year, and that was the
Oh,
Minnesota
who? Now I
Vikings.
believe I picked Tampa Bay. Who did you pick?
I picked Seattle, so I'm
Oh,
0-2.
okay.
You're
All
one
right,
and
all
one.
right, all right. Wow. So far, it's looking good, but I think the bottom's about to fall out pretty soon.
Um, so the game, so what happens? This was the game of the year. Minnesota versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, the reason why it was interesting is the lead up was is Josh Allen going to play? And literally, I'm guessing like seconds before the game starts, they announced like, oh, Josh Allen is going to play the game.
I texted you the minute I heard it, and yeah, you wasn't too happy because you picked the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I was
And
ecstatic because I picked the Bills. I was like, there's no way the Bills are losing at home. I don't care who quarterback is. That home field advantage is actually something special in the NFL.
Yep. And there was a point.
Well.
Yep.
That's what they play, don't they?
There was a point Buffalo was up pretty big.
Yeah.
I forgot the exact score, but they were big. But the Vikings end up coming roaring back. And it gets to the point where the Vikings are driving down the field to pretty much tie the game. No, take the lead. And they get to the 1 yard line of the goal line. Stuffed. They get stuffed. Then I'm like, okay, game's over. I go upstairs.
But before that, Justin Jefferson was dominating.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop him. It was like that one-handed catch was only just a precursor to everything that just happened up until they got to the 1 yard line. They didn't. Buffalo had no answer for number 18.
And they converted on like a 4th and 20.
To him.
Yep.
To him. And then after that, they got 2 more passes to him. I don't know what Buffalo was thinking. When you get 3 consecutive passes to one dude, then I would imagine you do something to stop that one dude, but they didn't. So they got down to the 1 yard line. And luckily for Buffalo, is that Justin Jefferson catch was at the 1. It was originally going to be called a touchdown until they replayed it and showed that, yes, his shoulder was down at the 1. Okay. So what went on after that is, I mean, man, 4 straight chances and they couldn't get in. If I'm correct, that lad that played at Justin Jefferson, which was on the 1, that was the 4th down. I mean, that was the 3rd down, and they had 4th and inches to get in the end zone, and they were stopped.
Yep.
Everybody's happy. Buffalo is excited. All Buffalo got to do is run out the next 44 seconds, but they got to do it from their own end zone.
Mm-hmm.
These knuckleheads, they call a quarterback sneak. A quarterback sneak.
I think that's a good play. The problem
with
is
that defensive line, I would have thought if you're going to sneak, my thing would be spread everybody out. Spread everybody out, go 5 wide, and then quarterback sneak. But when you put everybody at the line of scrimmage, they tip their hand with that set, in my opinion. And that's just me.
Sometimes you got to be predictable with your play calling, and in that case, that's the thing. The problem was Josh Allen just fumbled the snap stupidly.
Exactly. Because the defensive tackles for Minnesota, they pretty much crowded the center. And
I don't think that's the case. I think he just fumbled the snap.
Nah.
You're looking too much into that defensive line.
He
just fumbled the snap.
That Minnesota defensive line was actually on top of him. And yes, he might have fumbled the snap, but he saw pre-snap what was going to happen. So he tried to be quick and try to hurry up. But he wound up fumbling the snap, and because the DTs beat the center and the guards to the position, they had ample opportunity to get the football, and that's exactly what happened. They recovered in the end zone for a touchdown.
Yep. And you think, okay, the Minnesota Vikings, they won the game. They then let the Bills go all the way down the field, kick a field goal to tie the game
in 40 seconds. 40 seconds. I'm like, and I actually turned it off just to see. I was like, what, this game is over. Click, 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 click. And here you go. You texted me, but like, hey, Buffalo tied the game. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Go back to try to turn the game on. And then you text me again. Oh, sorry. Minnesota won 33-30.
I was getting all the things from ESPN, and then I'm just yeah.
And before we were actually saying, you know what, we don't think Minnesota that good. We don't think Minnesota that good. I'm sitting there like, you know what, Buffalo, especially beginning of the football season, I'm saying, you know what, Buffalo should just 15-2, 14. They should really just dominate this football season.
Yeah,
not the case.
Yep. Game goes to overtime. Minnesota, they end up scoring first. They kick a field goal, and then all they need is to get a stop. And Josh Allen on that interception. I don't know where the hell he was throwing to, but he throws an interception. It looked like Gabe Davis was like running near the end, but he was already locked up, so I don't know what he was going there. Throws a
I
pick,
have
game
no
over.
idea.
Bills lose in upset fashion at home.
I have no idea. Just,
Yeah.
but you know what? That's the way. That's the exactly the way it goes. When it snowballs, and there's not really much you can do about it. Did you think his UCL injury had any impact on how he threw the football?
It potentially could have played a part. I don't know.
I mean, I didn't see anything that
I didn't
tells
see
me.
anything either, but
Yeah,
it
I didn't see
potentially played a
anything that
part.
tells me he was bothered by the elbow. And the reason why I mentioned it because Bryce Harper just went down. He just got surgery for the same injury.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, so I'm just wondering um,
maybe.
if this injury is as bad as Harper's, then I just don't know if Allen can continue the entire season with this injury.
Yeah, and it's one of those crushing losses for Buffalo that especially after the Jets lost last week, they needed
Yep,
to get this game.
they
Now,
really.
with this game losing, pretty much the two top seeds in the AFC, I believe, to my recollection, I think it's a thing between the Tennessee, Miami, and now Kansas City with the way they're on, the way they look like they're rolling. They're
Yeah,
gonna get that number one seed again, which
yep,
for the rest of the AFC, that ain't good for them. Maybe the only
yep.
team that could probably take them to the limit is probably Miami at this point.
I don't
Um,
believe so. I really don't believe so. I honestly think that I still, and I talked about it last week. For me, Tua has an issue passing the ball downfield. He's short arming it, and if you can cover the receivers underneath and try to encourage Tua to go long, I think you can get them. I think you can beat Miami. I just, I mean, his short to intermediate throws are flawless, but if you take those away and make them go deep, to me, that's just the issue with Miami. And I just think Kansas City has an edge when it comes to that.
yeah, yeah, it's not going good in Buffalo, and they're already talking on national airways like Josh Allen, you need to stop turning the ball over, which he does. He had two interceptions this game, and two of
Oh
them,
yeah,
both of them were
gunslinger
pretty bad.
mentality.
So
Yeah, gunslinger's mentality. And I gotta admit, after that Jets loss, you lose to the Vikings. I mean, I
yeah.
mean, if we want to look at their schedule, I mean, I'm just starting to wonder, other than Kansas City, what playoff type team did they beat?
Yeah.
I mean, they almost, you know what, didn't they beat Miami in Miami?
No, they lost to Miami in Miami.
See, that's just it. I mean, to me, they're just not beating top tier teams,
Yeah.
you
Um,
know. So anyway, I picked Buffalo. You picked
I picked
the Vikings.
Minnesota because I thought Josh Allen was going to start. So right now we're both at 1-2. Good win for Minnesota. They're pretty much in sole possession of the NFC North. Uh,
Yeah, I got it.
unless they fumble the NFC North away and somehow the Green Bay Packers catch up, then
Yeah,
they should be the winners of the division.
they should be. They should be.
But even in that case, it's a good win. But even you can say, well, even with 40 seconds, you can't let a team go down the field and kick the field goal to send the game into
Correct.
overtime. So they're
Correct. But at the same time, though, but it takes a really good quarterback
mhm.
to do that. Now in the playoffs, I gotta admit, you're probably gonna come across some really good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, Buffalo got some issues that they're gonna definitely have to work out on both sides of the football. So we'll see how they do it. But I mean, what, 3 out of their last 4 they've lost, or 3 in a row that they've lost, they're having some issues.
Yeah. Next game was the Tennessee Titans versus the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos issues still continue. They can't get over like 10 points.
Nope.
Tennessee ends up beating them 17-10. I didn't pay attention much to this game. The only thing I saw like was an update was freaking Russell Wilson throwing a deep pass, I think to KJ Hamler, but after that they did really nothing.
They got to get some receivers. I'm sorry, Jerry Judy is out. I think there's going to be miss some considerable amount
No,
of time.
I think they have the receivers. The problem is their head coach can't call no plays.
I don't trust those receivers. That's just me. I just don't trust the receivers. And granted, yeah, I'm pretty sure, a part of that is, Nathaniel Hackett. I'm pretty sure a good part of that is Nathaniel Hackett. But I mean, I just don't have any faith in those wideouts. I really don't. And then on top of that, you still got Russell Wilson has to take some of the blame as well too. So because that offense is just, I can't even put my finger on it why it's so bad.
Yeah, and now it's starting to be looking like a real bad look for Denver just paying Russell Wilson all that money, and now they're stuck with him. And if
Now
he
they
keeps
stuck
playing
with
like that, well then,
because he's gonna retire on that contract.
yeah. Look, hey, it is what it is. Again, it goes to the thing. Maybe Pete Carroll had something on Russell Wilson that, hey, dude, we have something cooking over here. If you feel like you want to feel like, go right ahead. But yeah,
Go right on ahead. I'll win the division with Geno Smith.
yeah, yeah. Tannehill, he looked good. Well, he came back, so obviously it's better than, I guess, at this point, Malik Willis. Again, as he's learning, but again, it's a win that gets Tennessee back on track. Good for them. Yada yada yada. Next game, Kansas City. Oh, record wise, I'm 2-2. You're 2-3 because I took Tennessee. You took Denver.
I took Denver. Oh,
yeah.
golly, I won't be picking. It's two teams I will not be picking anymore for the rest of the year. That's Denver and the Raiders.
Yeah. Next game was Kansas City versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kansas City pretty much had their way.
We called that one.
Yeah. So, right now I'm 3-2. You're 3-3.
Yep.
Next game, Browns versus Dolphins. Again, Dolphins had their way with the Browns.
We called that one too.
Nothing else.
Or did you go with the Browns?
We both went Miami.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that would have been knucklehead of me to go with the Browns.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson did start practicing though.
Yeah. Texans versus Giants. Again, the score was pretty close.
Yeah, that was a lot closer game than what the score says it was, and I know it was what
24-16.
Yeah, 24-16, 17. It was it was a lot closer than that. I think the Texans were actually up. I want to say they were up 10-0. So, and then they started going Barkley left, Barkley right. That said, we got to get rid of y'all, man. Give it to our best guy, and we're just going to take him to the promised land.
Yeah. Next game after that was Steelers versus Saints. It was a close game early on, but then the Steelers ended up pulling out.
Yeah, it was a snooze fest.
The thing is, I ended up taking New Orleans. You had Pittsburgh, so
yeah, I picked Pittsburgh.
We're both at 5-3 right now.
Wow, I'm actually above 500. Cool.
All right, hold on. Let me get my facts right. 4 and 2.
Oh, now you want to change it after you told America that it's 5
No, 5-2. No, you're okay. I'm 5-3. You're 6-3.
How can you be 5-3 and I'm 6-3?
Because going to this week, we both chose after. So I was counting Miami. So I was 4-2. Then the Giants game, it made me 5-2. I accidentally put 5-3 for me.
Gotcha.
But then 5-3, you're 6-3 right now.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Oh God, this game. We both took Las Vegas because we thought there is no way the Raiders could get any worse than losing to the Indianapolis Colts.
Losing to a first-year coach, first game, who has never coached a game at all at this level or any of a similar level. And he beat them. He basically brought back everybody that Frank Reich said, you know what, I don't want you to play, I don't want you to play, I don't want you to play, I don't want you to play. Jeff Saturday brought all these guys back and pulled out a W.
25-20.
Pulled out a W.
It's so bad. The loss was so bad. You had Derek Carr in the press conference pretty much crying, calling out some teammates saying they don't put as much work in as some other guys. Now, I don't know what that's supposed to mean right there, but sounds like some people in Las Vegas, they look like they're going to the strip club and freaking just gambling money away.
And why do you think that is so? Why do you think that is so?
Josh McDaniels.
Thank you very much. They don't have a disciplinarian as a head coach. They got a guy who's just they got a player's guy.
Yeah.
That's it. Instead of cracking the whip because they losing, Instead of cracking the whip because they're losing, it seems like he's doing just the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's a bad look to lose to Jeff Saturday with his resume.
Yeah,
Now, I'm not saying Saturday don't know football. The dude played, he played as a center, so obviously he's a smart guy playing center back up for Peyton Manning of all players.
Yep,
So,
and 1 year of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so we know the guy knows football. I'm not going to sit up here and deny that the guy doesn't know football. He knows football. Obviously, he knows a little bit more than Josh McDaniels. So some people just aren't fit to be a head coach, and Josh McDaniels is definitely proven that.
Yeah. Listen, we said it last week. If you lose to the Colts, you can't hit rock bottom no less. You might as well just fire him. At this point, so far they haven't fired him yet. But honestly, I think it's going to be a thing at the end of the year. They're going to have to fire him because he pushed back from the national media, the Las Vegas radio, or the Las Vegas media. They're going to be wanting this guy to be canned.
You can't keep him. You can't keep him, especially when you got your quarterback up there calling folks out. And who knows? He could have been calling out the head coach for all I know. We don't know. He was pretty cryptic with what he said. Now, I'm pretty sure he was talking about players too.
Yeah.
But he was so cryptic, it could be the head coach. All I can tell you is that fish rots from the head down, and we can start with the head coach.
If you want to be honest, we could start with the owner, Mark Davis. He should have just kept Rick Bisaccia.
Yeah, should have kept him. I mean, you were winning. Why can't you just keep the guy? But no, he wanted to make a big splash, big hire, wants to sit up here and say, hey, the Raiders are back. No, man. The Raiders are tough. The Raiders, they don't take the Raiders I grew up with, they didn't take any crap off anybody. They had a disciplinarian at the top to make sure these guys came to play solid, hard football. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, everybody can see that this is not your father's Raiders. This ain't your uncle's Raiders either, son.
No, for my lifetime, that's been a joke.
Yeah, see? These are your Raiders. These aren't my Raiders.
And that goes back when I started watching football full time. That's back when they still had Jamarcus Russell.
I'm telling you, these are your Raiders. The Raiders I'm familiar with would not take this nonsense that's going on right now.
Yeah. Just fire the dude. Just fire the dude. Honestly,
just fire him and get it over with because the season's over. There's no way they're going to sit up here and win 8 straight.
Yep. You hope maybe Mark Davis sells the team, but we know he's not going to sell the team.
No, that he don't have to do. All he has to do is just get a true head coach to coach these guys up, and then leave them alone.
Yep. Next game, another shocking game. It was Cowboys versus Packers. The Cowboys, we thought, would win, but they ended up blowing, just like the Bears, a 14-point lead, and the Packers come from behind and beat them in overtime.
Christian Jordan just basically started catching the freaking football.
Christian Watson, you mean?
Watson, whatever his name. Christian Watson, he just started catching the football. The first one he caught was a one deep shell, and he just blew past the cornerback. It wasn't Trayvon Diggs, but I would have thought after the second touchdown, you put your best man on him. No, you didn't. You couldn't get anywhere near Rodgers. Just hate the Packers, man. I really hate the Packers.
Says on my list, you chose Green Bay to win this game.
I did choose Green Bay to win the game, but
yeah.
I chose Green Bay because they were at home.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I chose.
Yeah, Dak Prescott, he had an okay game. He threw like a very back-breaking interception, like in the red zone. He had 2 interceptions this game. You can't have that happen.
This game tells me you can forget Dallas winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. Right now my record's 5-5. I took Dallas in this game. My uncle's 7-4. Another game now. in our predictions last week, we completely forgot that Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray were both injured, and they go into this game. It was pretty much the battle of the backups for each. Colt McCoy was the starting backup for the Cardinals. I didn't know who the hell the backup for the Rams is. I'm checking actually right now. Wolford,
Kurt Wolford,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't see much of this game, which again, it always upsets me. Now, I live in the LA market, and I know predominantly with me living in the LA market, I'm either going to get Chargers or Rams games over something. But if Fox is going to advertise Green Bay and Dallas as America's game of the week, I don't care if the Rams are the nationally televised team here in my freaking state. Listen, give me the freaking game that everybody wants to see. I don't want to see no Cardinals versus Rams. I had to go on the freaking NFL Reddit to go find Cowboys versus Packers for my dad because we didn't want to watch no Arizona versus no dang Rams. All you got to know is the Cardinals, I guess, in a way, pulled off the upset and beat the Rams double digits. It's only the Rams' whole Super Bowl hangover. It's only getting worse. Cooper Kupp is now put on IR, which means he won't come back to week 16. Pretty much you can just mail it in. The Rams are done.
Yep. Done. Don't even need to say any more about it. And then on top of that, if you look at the two quarterbacks, I mean, I think we thought they both were going to play. I texted you and told you they weren't game day. So if we had known that ahead of time, I would have went with the Cardinals. Cardinals got the better quarterback that's playing. I think I went with the Rams initially.
Both went with Rams. We both went Rams.
So I mean, if I had known that both quarterbacks wasn't going to play, and we had a matchup of McCoy, who's got really good NFL experience as the backup, and Wolford, who has virtually none, yeah, man, I would have went with the more experienced quarterback, Arizona. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, the Rams are done.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to make like massive change. Well, I wouldn't say massive changes, but they're gonna have to fix out that offensive line they have issues with, and then they're gonna have to get another at least like B plus A minus receiver player to at least alleviate some of the issues that plague Cooper Kupp, because Allen Robinson, Ben Skoranek, Tyler Higbee. Yeah, they're solid guys, but really, as a defense, I'm like, I could care less about those dudes.
There's not one of them that actually measure up to what Odell Beckham Jr. was last year.
Yep.
Not one. Not a
probably a mistake. Instead of paying all the big money to some other people, they probably should have re-signed Odell Beckham Jr. even coming off injury.
Just re-sign him, even though he was injured with the knee injury. Just re-sign him, because in the end, when it's all said and done, this guy is going to re-sign with another team, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, someone who has the potential, some team that has the potential of going to the Super Bowl. And he is really going to help that team get some playoff shine. Yeah. Personally, I hope he goes to Tampa Bay myself, because now that Chris Godwin seems to be coming around, that'd be a nice three-headed monster in Tampa Bay at the wide receiver position.
Yeah. Record-wise, I'm 5-6. My uncle is 7-5. Sunday Night Football from last week. It was the Los Angeles Chargers versus the 49ers. The 49ers ended up coming back on the Chargers. I saw only up to the part where the Chargers looked like they were dominating, and they honestly looked like they were going to go win this game. But San Francisco pretty much came back on them and just chipped away at that score, and they won. Other than that, good win for the 49ers. It keeps them ahead.
We didn't think it was going to be a blowout, but I think we still both went with San Francisco.
Yeah, we both went San Francisco.
Yeah. So we didn't think it was going to be a blowout. We thought it was going to be a close game, and it turned out there was, decently. It was much closer than what we thought. I never thought that San Francisco would have just come back. I thought they had the kind of team that actually controlled the entire game. But that NFC West is really starting to look good for the San Francisco 49ers at this particular moment.
Yeah. They also did beat the Seattle Seahawks in their first game, so that's one thing they have up on them. They just can't. 49ers, they can win the division. They just can't have any setback losses which kick them in their butt, and they can't have it to where Seattle starts winning games on a consistent basis and then beats them
Correct.
potentially in Seattle, where maybe that could be headed. Maybe there's a point in this season, whoever wins the NFC West, it could be between Seattle and San Francisco in Seattle, just
San
like
Francisco, that's right.
back early 2010s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
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 But as for the Chargers, again, it's a loss that I guess in their case it hurts them because right now Kansas City is on a roll. I guess the Chargers have a puncher's chance, to win the division, but they would need
Well,
freaking
they
Kansas
do.
City to lose out. But at this
They
point,
do. Well, they don't need them to lose out. What they need to do is beat Kansas City the next time they play them, which I think is this coming week. So they got to beat Kansas City.
yeah,
So,
they got.
I mean, I think they're only 2 games back. So it's not dire straits, but at the same time, though,
I can look at the standings.
the sweat balls are kind of rolling because, the Chargers aren't playing very well and Kansas City's rolling.
Kansas City is 7-2 right now, and the Chargers are 5-4.
Yeah, so and I think their next game is Kansas City, the Chargers. I think is their next game in Soho,
Yeah.
so SoFi Stadium. So
Yeah.
I think so they can if they beat Kansas City, then that division is still for the taking.
Yeah, but Kansas City beat them first, so that's one thing they have the edge up
That's
on.
true. That's why I say they gotta beat Kansas City. Because if they don't beat Kansas City, then yeah, that division's a wrap. Because if they, for whatever reason, become tied, then obviously Kansas City will get the tiebreaker because they beat them twice.
Yeah. The thing is, I think the Chargers are at this point, they're just playing for a wild card spot more than likely. They got a bunch of injuries. Mike Williams is out. Guyton, he has a torn ACL. He's out for the season. And then Keenan Allen, he's been out since like early season with his hamstring or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But if they don't beat Kansas City, you can forget about that wild card because you got a bunch of 6-3 teams. Like right now, the Jets, and Buffalo, which are currently 6-3.
Yep.
And right now, if I'm correct, if we talk about doing wild cards, then I think those 2 teams right now look a little bit better in the standings than what the Chargers are right now. So the Chargers have got to, take control of their own destiny, and they got to beat Kansas City. It starts there. They got to beat them.
Yeah. And I think this also could be probably a make or break year for Brandon Staley. If they don't at least make the playoffs this year, I could see him honestly getting fired. Because he has the team. It's just, well, if you're the coach and you have the team and you're not providing results, well, sorry, but you got to go. So
I don't see them as firing him.
you think he's going to get at least one more year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see any reason why not. I mean, we talked about at the beginning of the season, the teams that we felt that cannot win, with injury. I mean, keep in mind, all NFL teams, they get injured. But we specifically talked about the Chargers, that if they get an injury, for all intents and purposes, they're done because they are not as deep as other teams. And guess what happened?
Got hurt.
Bosa got hurt. I mean, Eckler went down. You got all of just wide receivers are going down. Everyone is going down for the Chargers, but they don't have the depth to be able to survive a serious injury.
Yep.
And right now, they haven't been able to survive Bosa's injury.
Yep. Monday night game. Upset of probably the week. The Washington Commanders go into Philadelphia and defeat the formerly undefeated, Philadelphia Eagles.
What I love most about that is everybody on ESPN staff, but Alex Smith. Alex Smith was the only one that went for the Commanders, and he came out looking good. I will tell you, that Commanders front seven is really good. That Commanders front seven is really good, and Taylor Heineke he's been 3-1 since he took over for the Commanders, and sorry, Carson. This kid he's been in Washington for the last 2-3 seasons?
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, hey, just let the dude play. Just give him the starting job, and he never gets a starting job. And then whatever they go get this quarterback, and this big name quarterback or once big name quarterback comes in and he sucks the holy hell. Taylor Heineke seems to always come in and save the day. So come on. Now I know it's different starting when you know you have to start from week to week, but Taylor Heineke, for whatever reason, he should be named starter, period, for the Commanders.
Yeah, till they, I guess, get one unless they draft like a high, really top NFL draft quarterback that's ready,
Maybe.
and then have him be pretty much a good backup to that
Maybe. Or just give him the damn job and use that pick to satisfy another position of need somewhere else.
I would rather, if I was a Commanders fan, I would hope you get a high draft pick and draft a quarterback, because
the way they playing, you think a high draft pick is going to happen? Because right now the Commanders are what, 5-4?
Yeah, that is truth. No, they're 5-5 right now.
Yeah, 5-5. Granted, 5-5 being now that just showed you how good this division is.
Oh yeah,
they're 5-5 and in last place in the division.
Yep,
that's
yeah. Yeah, for the Eagles, this is really no huge setback. It's just, it happens to these undefeated teams. You never expect these undefeated teams to be like the Miami Dolphins or be almost like the 2007 New England Patriots, where they go all the way to the Super Bowl and then lose. But it's always hard as an undefeated team to stay focused every week, especially in the NFL. In college football, you could probably get away with it, but
you can get away with it. But did you honestly expect anyone to go that deep into any team? Maybe I expected Buffalo. I'll say Buffalo. Mm-hmm. But other than Buffalo, I really never expected any one particular team to, like, let's just say, win their first 10 games.
Yeah.
The only team I really expected to even come close to that would have been Buffalo. Philadelphia was one of the last teams I would have ever thought that would have gone 8-0 or 9-0 to start the year.
Yeah. So, well,
shocking they lost.
Yeah. It's just one of those losses where they're gonna take. Hopefully, it doesn't start some sort of weird streak where they end up losing more games in the back half of the season, where they can look back at this loss and be like, "Oh shoot, that's a problem."
And the messed up part is it's a divisional opponent. I don't think it would have stung as much as if it was like someone outside the division. But because it was a divisional opponent, yes, that's a problem, because they're 2-1 in the division. The Cowboys are 2-1 in the division. So obviously, and right now, I mean, granted, the Eagles have the tiebreaker over the Cowboys because the Eagles beat them. But they got another game with the Cowboys coming up. Mm-hmm. So again, and I'm pretty sure the Cowboys are going to be looking for some of that sweet revenge that you see. So this division is by no means won by Philadelphia.
Yeah. We're going to get out of here, guys. I'm actually shocked. We made it through an entire recap without having to do at least another video ending off the recap. But we're good. We'll be back to discuss our predictions. It'll be a real quick cut for you guys. But yeah, see you guys for the predictions for week 11. All right, we gave our week 10 prediction, our recap. Now we're on our week 11 predictions. My uncle ended up winning week 10. So yeah, I'll have to go back.
I'm shocked because I thought I just bombed.
Yeah, I have to honestly go back and look at all the videos to see what the leader in terms of weekly winnings is. But yeah. But tonight, Tennessee versus Green Bay for Thursday Night Football. At least I guess you could say it's somewhat competitive. Jesus. I don't want to do this.
Are they in Green Bay?
Yeah, they're in Green Bay.
I'm going with the Packers.
Yeah.
For me, the way the Packers played against the Cowboys defense last week was highly encouraging for how they're going to proceed as a football team. And granted, I hate the Packers, but if we're being truly honest, that W that they got against the Cowboys was pretty impressive. How they came back with 2 touchdowns, and they basically went on a 17-0 run to close that game out. So
Yeah,
I'll go with the Packers.
yeah, same here. They're clearly gonna key on crap.
Yep, the running game. Just
Derrick Henry.
stop the running game, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Stop the running game, you'll be fine. Put 8, 9 in the box and see if you can stop them. I don't foresee the Titans going to a lot of 3 and 4 wide receiver sets unless they have to.
Yeah. Next game, our Chicago Bears versus the Atlanta Falcons. I know the Bears have been losing a lot of games as of late, and their defense can't stop absolutely freaking nobody. But if the offense again is moving the ball and it scores 20 plus points again, the Bears will always have a chance to win games. Justin Fields is returning back home to Atlanta, so I think he's gonna try to put on a show for his family and anybody that liked him since he was at his time at Georgia. I'm gonna go with the Bears here. Again, the only thing is the Falcons offense can be freaking solid because they got those weapons in Kyle Pitts and Drake London, and then they got Cordell Patterson running the ball. And again, like I made a mention, this Bears defense can't absolutely stop nobody for some damn reason. But even with that, I just feel like the Bears still have it. Now, I will say I can see Atlanta winning this game because they have a very tough defense. You know, we'll see. We'll see. I think the Bears, the defense, they need turnovers if they want to win this game. They need like maybe 2 turnovers, and they got to get stops. But I'm still going Chicago. I think Justin Fields has another game where he continues to show his stuff out there, but that's just my take.
The Bears have scored 29 points per game the last 3 games. And I think
they're leading the league in points scored right now.
Yeah, but in the last 3, I think they're the only team that have gone on a 3-game losing streak when they've averaged better than 29 points a game. Something has to give. And I honestly think what they need more so than anything is to get away from Chicago. Get away from Chicago and all the stress and aggravation, the pressures of the Chicago media having to watch them play. Get away from Chicago. Go to Atlanta. I think they'll do some of the same things. And yes, I think the Bears can come up with a W this week. Is it going to be easy with this defense? Hell no. I mean, this defense has not shown that they can really do anything to stop the run game, but they will have to because Atlanta's a really good running football team. So we'll see. But I like the Bears to win this game. Now, do I expect Justin Fields to have one of them explosions like he's had the past couple of weeks? Nah, I don't really expect that. I think at some point, man, we got to make sure that we find out a really good way to try to implement everybody else in. I'd like to see Chase Claypool get a little more time. So, but with the way the Bears offense is flowing, yeah, I think they can go to Atlanta and get a W. I'll go Bears.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert's also on IR, so that could potentially be a problem for the Bears running back situation there.
Could be.
But we'll see. We'll see. Next game, the Cleveland Browns versus the Buffalo Bills. This game is going to be in Buffalo. I'm going to go with Buffalo, but if somehow if the Cleveland Browns beat the Bills, well, then it's time to start hitting the panic button for the Bills.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with Buffalo as well, too. Cleveland has not shown that they're anywhere near what Minnesota is. So, yeah, I can't. But at the same time, you're right. If Cleveland win this game, oh, dude, man, Buffalo people, y'all just pack it in and just pack it in. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
And I think this is going to be the last game, and then Deshaun Watson should be eligible to come back starting next week, correct?
Yes, they said they said he was supposed to come back week 11, but he started practicing this week. Now, whether he plays or not, that part I just don't know. They haven't really announced that he's going to play, but I know he's practicing.
Yeah. Next game, the Eagles at the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to go with Eagles just from the standpoint. I think they're going to be pissed off that they lost to the Commanders, a division rival. I think they're just going to take all of that out on the Colts that will probably do the same, try to do the same thing. But again, we made it mention in our recap section. Listen, if the Eagles lose this game and they go on a losing streak, well, the division rivals can end up potentially catching them.
And don't be shocked that Jeff Saturday might actually come up with some stuff to beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
Just saying that we just don't know what goes behind these NFL closed doors. We really just don't know what kind of football mind Jeff Saturday is. So that being said, the Colts are at home. I'm gonna go with Philadelphia, but I will not be shocked if the Colts beat them.
Yeah, could be.
Philadelphia is not Philadelphia. They're 8-1, but would you think that's a dominant 8-1?
In some games, yes, they've been dominant. In other games,
I'm talking about in its totality. Has it been a dominant 8-1?
Not really.
No, it hasn't. So I think the Colts can win the game, use some of that home cooking to their advantage, but I think in the end, Philadelphia will win. They will win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Jeff Saturday comes up, if he dials up some stuff and beats the Eagles.
Yep. Next game, it's the New York Jets versus the New England Patriots. These two teams played earlier in the year, and the Patriots, they ended up coming back on the Jets and winning. I think it's just gonna be more of the same. Even though the Patriots don't look too impressive, I think they should easily beat the Jets on their home field. That's just me.
Okay. How many times this year have we picked the Jets to lose?
A lot, actually.
A lot. And have the Jets been losing?
No.
So I'm jumping off that bandwagon and I'm jumping onto the Jets to go into Foxborough and beat the Patriots.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm loving Coach Saleh and what he's doing with that team. They are playing really good football. They're playing mistake-free football. And they're not being and they're doing a lot of things, running the ball, passing occasionally, things of that nature. But they play tough, hard-nosed defense. I like the Jets.
I'm going Patriots.
Okay.
Next game. Rams versus New Orleans Saints.
Oh, golly gee, no.
I'm gonna go with the Rams. The only reason why is if Andy Dalton wasn't New Orleans Saints quarterback, I'd probably honestly go Saints. But because he is, and then Matthew Stafford's also coming back this week.
Okay, Matthew Stafford is coming back for sure. We know this.
Yeah.
Okay, where are they playing?
New Orleans. You really trust Andy Dalton against that, even though they haven't been playing up to par. You really trust Andy Dalton against.
You really trust the Rams with that wide receiver core without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I think the Rams can escape this game just barely because that's how much I don't trust Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton barely could do anything against the stout Pittsburgh defense. What makes you think he could do anything against the Rams defense?
I'm sorry. I don't trust the Rams. I don't trust the Rams. I'm going with the Saints. I don't trust them. I mean, with the exception of quarterback, the Saints are a better football team right now than the Rams.
I can agree to that.
Exception of quarterback. And Stafford is playing. So I'm going to go with the Saints because they're at home. That home cooking has got to mean something.
Yeah. Next game, the Detroit Lions against the New York Giants. I'm going to go with the Giants. This game.
Detroit's at home, though, right?
No, New York is the home team.
Oh, they're in New York, yeah. No, they're not going. No, the Giants are going. The Giants aren't the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and I think the referees will show the Giants a little bit more respect because let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Detroit only got back in that game because the refs helped them out.
So an interception and a missed field goal, a missed extra point was all the referees. I mean, we contributed to that loss too.
Yeah, I understand that, but
the referees didn't help. They didn't help because, yeah, it was a poorly called game, but we could have beat them without those two miscues.
Yeah. And getting when we had the lead.
regardless of the officials. We could have beat them. We could have scored. We should have scored 40 on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So who are you going for? I'm going Giants.
Oh yeah, I'm going Giants too.
Okay.
I mean,
all right, next game. The Carolina Panthers are going to be starting Baker Mayfield this week versus the Baltimore Ravens at home. Baltimore.
why don't you tell me who I'm going with? When I told you that they were going to bench Baker Mayfield by week 7, and they benched him, and the only reason why they brought him back is they ain't got nobody else to play.
I guess PJ Walker's apparently hurt now.
He sucked against Atlanta last week anyway. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Where's Sam Darnold? Is he hurt too?
They don't want to. No, he's back. They just probably don't want to give him another chance because they know Sam Darnold sucks.
So you're going to go ahead and put Baker Mayfield back in, and maybe, just maybe, he'll do something.
Well, he used to play the Ravens in division, so I'm guessing from that factor, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
I'm just throwing straws out there.
He played in the division that he might know. He might have some advanced knowledge that PJ Walker don't. I get that. But unfortunately,
yeah. Washington.
And they're in Baltimore, too.
Yeah, they're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Washington at Houston Texans. I'm going to go with Washington winning in a close game because the Texans can play hard, even though they're 1-7. But I think Washington should do enough to beat the Texans in a close game.
They should, but being the Eagles put them on such an emotional high that I'm not necessarily sure them going into somebody else's building, they're going to take that the way they should. Now, I think they're going to win the Commanders, but again, dude, don't be shocked if the Texans come up with a W.
Yeah. Oh God. Probably a battle of the two worst teams in the NFL, and I'm saying the freaking. And even though Houston Texans is 1-7 right now, these are arguably.
Really?
These are arguably the two worst teams in the league.
Are we talking about the Raiders and Broncos?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I said it. I ain't doing it no more. I'm not going for the Raiders ever again. The rest of this football season. I don't care what they do. I'm going for the Broncos. I'm tired of going for the Raiders. I'm tired. I'm sick of the Raiders. I'm just nope, not doing it. Put me down for the Broncos. And more likely this game is going to be something stupid like 12-9. A bunch of field goals because neither team can actually move the football.
I'm going to go with the Raiders. I know.
Oh, golly gee. You only went with the Raiders because you just got a feeling my picks is going to be really good. And you want to try to do that whole disruption thing.
I'm just going with the –
You go ahead and go on that sinking ship.
I'm just going to the Raiders this 1 week, just for the standpoint. I don't want to choose any of these teams. These teams.
I gotta admit, when I have my choice, I'm not doing the Raiders no more. No. They didn't let me down too much this doggone football year, and I'm off. I'm not doing it.
I'm only going Raiders. They beat them earlier. They beat the Denver Broncos early in the year.
That's nice. That means the Broncos are going to reciprocate and beat their ass.
Well, I don't know. Whatever. I'm taking the Raiders. He's taking Denver.
You do that.
We don't want to choose any of these teams, but going on to something better. The Cowboys versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh. Who's the home team?
Minnesota. I'm probably going to have to go Minnesota this game.
See, that loss to Green Bay was devastating, I'm sure, to the Dallas Cowboys. That victory for Minnesota was great, albeit shocking. But mentally, these two teams are in two different areas. I do like that Dallas defense. I really like that Dallas defense to snap back. Go to Minnesota and beat them.
You got Dallas?
I'm gonna go with Dallas.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Dallas. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about it. I I'm not crazy about the friend, my Dallas Cowboy friends and things like that nature, but I really do like if Dak Prescott don't turn the ball over, they should beat Minnesota.
He's gonna do it. You know he's gonna turn the ball over.
Well, he had two picks to the same guy in with Green Bay, and he the same almost had a third interception. So it was like, dude, I mean, just stay away from number 20 in Green, you know. So and maybe, just maybe, the defense can do just enough to keep the ball out of Justin Jefferson's hands, you know. But I honestly think that defense will recover, play very well, and go to Minnesota and win.
Yeah, I'm going Minnesota. Next
Good
game.
for you.
Next game is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. I'm still gonna go Cincinnati here, even though it's a tough place to play in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cincinnati too. Unfortunately, they still don't have Jamar Chase, and the Pittsburgh defense is not bad.
Yeah,
So,
and they got TJ Watt back.
and, and it's a rivalry game too.
Yeah.
So, and you can kind of see that Pickett and Pickens are starting to have some type of continuity with each other. So I don't think it's going to be that, Cincinnati are going to Pittsburgh and just slay them. No, I don't see anything like that. I still see a knockout, drag out, 16-13, 17-14 kind of game. But I do think Cincinnati has got enough to go ahead and win this game.
Yeah. The next game is the Kansas City, the Sunday night game, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers. Just from the fact that Kansas City's kind of been on a roll, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, and they've just had the Chargers number for the past few years. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, even though they're on the road. But again, it doesn't matter. It's the Rams or the Chargers. You can really make the argument. There ain't no one of their home fans in their own building. But that's just me.
This game is a make or break for the Los Angeles Chargers. It's just that simple. They win this game, they back in the race for the division. I think there's more on the line for the Los Angeles Chargers than it is for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, granted, Kansas City is still playing better football than anybody in the league. I don't think there's any team that right now is doing better than them offensively, defensively, or special teams wise. That said, I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to say that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home. And it's a nationally televised game too.
Yeah, it's on NBC.
Yep. So I honestly think the Chargers are going to handle their business and try to get back control of the division.
Okay. Next game and the final game of the week, Monday Night Football, San Francisco versus the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if Kyler Murray is going to play, but it doesn't matter regardless. I'm still going San Francisco.
No, I like San Francisco in this game as well too. They are playing, as far as the NFC West is concerned, for me, they are playing the best football of the teams in the NFC West. Granted, Seattle has had a grip on top of that division for a few weeks, and their defense is really good too, especially their secondary. Speaking of Seattle, but I like San Francisco, and Arizona is almost to the point where they just about to call it in,
Yeah. Anyways, that's our predictions of week 11. We'll be back next week to give our recap and then predictions for week 12. But other than that, this looks like to be a pretty exciting week of football. We'll see.
I'm really looking forward to that Chargers Chiefs game, though.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that one. Obviously, Bears and Falcons, as always, but that Chargers Chiefs game is, for me, the Chargers need to come in with a playoff mentality. And if they don't, the Chiefs are going to run them out the building. So they got to make sure they come in with a playoff mentality. And I think they can go ahead and get that game. The other game, the Cowboys and Vikings, that's going to be a really good one as well, too. I mean, interesting to see how the Cowboys bounce back from that. That was a bad loss to the Green Bay Packers. I can give two craps about the Raiders and Broncos. Jets and Patriots. That's another. These divisional games are really starting to take shape. The Patriots, if they can win this game, I mean, you potentially are going to have every team in that division, with the exception of Miami, with 6 wins after this week. So that's a crucial game. And the Patriots, again, as another team that's at home, that's got to come with a playoff mentality. So, but I think the Jets can go in and take care of that as well. You think the Patriots, so it's going to be a really good week, man. Good football. So, might have to open up the grill this weekend.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyways, guys, gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on these weeks of games, as well as last week's game, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more NFL content or NBA content, which we won't do till later in the season, but whatever.
Yeah, after the All-Star break, man. The NBA season is just so boring right now. I don't even know what to say. There's really nothing to talk about with the NBA right now.
I haven't done a Clippers game recap in forever because I was
about to say there's no reason to. I mean, I think teams are just basically taking it easy, taking it light, going through the motions, and maybe maybe after the All-Star break, maybe first week in March, we might be able to see who the true pretenders and who true contenders are, and we may not see them.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna catch you guys next video. Till then, guys. See you guys later. Peace.
Peace.